And the extraordinary news here tonight for this replay is that Manchester United have dropped their Scottish international goalkeeper Jim Leighton, and Les Sealey, on loan to the club from Luton Town, there he is, plays in his stead. Well, Jimmy Hill and Bob Wilson will have their views on proceedings in due course, but straight away it's to our match commentators Trevor Brooking and first John Motson.
Thanks very much, Desmond. Good evening, everybody. Well, apart from that goalkeeping story, and more of that in a moment, two other big differences tonight. One already apparent, the strip that Crystal Palace are wearing, which was only delivered today to their hotel. And the other thing that you'll also notice, I'm sure, at home is the volume of both sets of supporters. Both clubs were allocated 26,000 tickets for tonight. In Palace's case, you can tell by the balloons, that's 12,000 more than on Saturday. And 20,000 tickets were on sale here at Wembley on Sunday. So plenty of those went to genuine fans, especially, obviously, London-based people. So not many neutrals here tonight, making it essentially a real football occasion, at the end of which, by hook or by crook, or by penalties, the FA Cup will be presented by His Royal Highness, the Duke of Kent. So, the introductions about to take place, and as Crystal Palace are presented to His Royal Highness, who are quite familiar with them by now, as Jeff Thomas goes down the line. Trevor Brooking's with me again, and it gives me a chance, Trevor, just to ask you your thoughts. We'll have a check in a moment on the lineups, but the talk around Wembley is about the goalkeeper on the other side of Manchester United, but Palace is keeping it the same.
Well, Crystal Palace, first of all, a little bit disappointed Ian Wright perhaps isn't going to start the game. And
somewhere or other, there are so many balloons on the pitch that they're going to have to get rid of those. Wright's there, so is Barber. Pardew closing in, and so was Mark Wright. And that's the first test for Les Sealey, and the United players are furious. It's a booking for Mark Wright. Yellow card.
Ryan Robson has set the tone, hasn't he, himself, with 2 or 3 crunching tackles. But they look a little bit more confident, where Crystal Palace, especially at the back, they've put a lot of balls back to the goalkeeper and not really confident. And it's a nasty little atmosphere developing at the moment.
And it's Gray! Oh, saved by Sealey's legs! That's a good stop. It may even be a brilliant stop. There's a foul anyway. Now Palace are protesting because it seemed to me that Jeff Thomas was fouled. Now what's Alan Gunn given? Or was there an earlier offence? Or is it merely a throw-in?
There was virtually no sighting for it.
Trevor made the point about the wall was in some disarray there.
Yeah. Yes. Well, it is. It's a great strike from Andy Gray, and it really is. You've just got to think of it as a goalkeeper, just as a barrier, really.
But the wall, what about that?
I think I think he's won that ball very cleanly. I know there was a Palace thought that might have been a penalty, but
well, I think he's. I wasn't looking at that closely, to say the truth, at that moment, but there it is now. Well,
he hooked his leg, didn't he?
Yes,
Whether it was...
he was going outside the penalty area. It would have been arguably a penalty anyway, even if it had been given as a foul. But was the attempt for the ball? Probably was.
Yeah. Well, the players have left the tunnel for the start of the second half. We shall see Manchester United emerging in just a few minutes. But while we're waiting, having had a chance to see again what happened after Les Sealey's save from Andy Gray, I do believe we had a penalty incident that needs to be looked at again. I actually feel, it's a personal view, Trevor, this on my part, that here we're going to see Jeff Thomas brought down by Brian McClare inside the area. And I think here there's a real clear-cut case for a penalty. I'm going to ask you whether you agree in a moment, but just watch this. The ball is in the area, the players are in the area. Now, did he play the ball first? Because I have to say this, a free kick was given, so the referee thought it was an offence. And if that's right, then it was inside the area, wasn't it?
Well, I must just say, I didn't think there was any doubt that it was a free kick. As you see, the ball comes out, and Jeff Thomas will just nudge it away. He makes the first contact. Brian McClare then slides in, definitely brings his left foot down. And at the time, my initial reaction, as was the linesman, but it probably was just outside the area, but there's no question that in fact contact was inside.
And now McClare, he's into the centre much more in the second half. You know, he's moved in from the right hand side, Brian McClare, and he's having some good play and some good touches. This is Wallace, Webb, Lee Martin from left back, an inspired run on the far side, a chance here and a goal! What a tremendous run, and Manchester United have taken the lead, and Lee Martin made a run from left back that was, what, 40, 50 yards, took it on his chest and smashed it with his right foot. Well, here's the lad who made the difference when he came on in the first game, and it's going to be a similar substitution. Barber off and Ian Wright on. Can he do the trick again for Crystal Palace? Corner kick. Thorne and O'Reilly are on the post. Wright is in there, so is Gray. O'Reilly, oh, it didn't run for him. He scrambled against Seeley's legs. And very, very close. The goalkeeper takes credit again. Thorne. O'Reilly. Now Gray is chasing this, so is Bright there. And there's Wright with a chance. Wright, side netting. But look at this here, Ian Wright still a threat. Yes, he had it covered. Manchester United have won the FA Cup and equalled the record of 7 outright wins. Palace slumped to the ground. Manchester United celebrate Alex Ferguson's first major trophy at Old Trafford. Manchester United have the time to console unhappy Palace players who've given so much on Saturday, but Steve Coppell's team finally made to look second best as the Manchester United supporters salute a most unlikely man with a Cup Winners' medal, Les Seeley. Who would have believed this a week ago? For Andy Gray, there's only desolation. Palace players, some of them in tears. They didn't play as well tonight as they played on Saturday, or indeed anywhere near as well as they can play. Manchester United equal the record of Aston Villa and Tottenham Hotspur. They win the FA Cup for the 7th time. As Palace sportingly applaud the victors. Now the losers going up for their medals. Jeff Thomas, a Manchester boy himself. Well, they offered so much in the FA Cup this season, especially in the semi-final and again on Saturday. But in the end it'll be losers' medals for Crystal Palace as Jeff Thomas leads them forward. The first medal he's had since he was a 10-year-old schoolboy, he was telling me, but it's not a winner's medal. Nigel Martin, Andy Thorne, who won with Wimbledon but loses here. Gary O'Reilly, who scored in the first game. They're chanting Steve Coppell's name, the supporters, because they appreciate that this really is something of a fairy story, even getting to Wembley. And the players have got a lot to look back on as they prepare to go on a tour to the West Indies. But my mind just focuses on the man who scored the goal, because if there was an unlikely player to get the winner, it was left-back Lee Martin. As for the losers, well, they've made lots of friends, and they've made lots of money as well, the club itself, I mean, from these 2 Wembley appearances. But obviously, it's never easy when you've lost a prize like that. Well, there's a man who's distinguished himself and won great respect as a manager this season, 34-year-old Steve Coppell. He knows what it's like to win the Cup with Manchester United. He did it in 1977, but tonight they've beaten his side. And as the goal scorer Lee Martin holds up the trophy, the final score in the 1990 FA Cup final replay, Manchester United 1, Crystal Palace 0.